It is all too possible in Python that you've seen something like this before, where dictionary is type hinted with dict string to any. Now this is often used when type hinting JSON objects because generally speaking they are string to any. But what if you knew exactly what schema the dictionary was going to have? What if it was always going to have name and that was always going to be a string, you're always going to have age, and you're always going to have jobs? Well, from Python 3.8 or from Python 3.7 if you have typing extensions installed, you can use the TypedDict to do just that, and we put a comma there instead. And then we can create a new class, and I'm going to call this profile T for profile type, and we can inherit from TypedDict. And then with the class attributes, we can set exactly what the thing is going to be. So the keys go in here as just the variable names, and then you can type hint them with the types that they're going to be. So for example, the name is always going to be a string, and as such, the age is always going to be an int, and the jobs is always going to be a list of strings. And now, if we set this to a profile T like this, we have a more complete type, or a more specific type for our profile. So if we get rid of jobs, we're then going to get an error from MyPy saying that we're missing the key jobs. If we bring that back and add one called gender, and I'm a male. I keep spelling it like that, I don't know why. But we can see that we have an extra key gender. The same goes for if we try and update anything out of turn. So if we try and update profile age to be 24, then we get an error here saying that it's an incompatible type. If we then try and add a key that's not part of it, then we'll get the same error as before. We have our no key gender thing. Now, of course, it's not always going to be the case where, you know, every dictionary you type in using TypedDict is going to have every single key included. Sometimes, you know, maybe the jobs might be missing. You know, APIs do this a lot, and it's really annoying. But what we can do is we can import not required from typing, and then we can actually set, say, jobs to be not required. And if we do that, then we can get rid of jobs and we don't have any issues. But if we get rid of age, it's all good. We have the error saying that we're missing the key age. So this is only available in Python 3.11, or if you have typing extension installed 3.7, I believe. If you don't have Python 3.11, you don't want to use extensions, you can pass total equals false. But this isn't quite as complete because this makes any key optional. So we can now get rid of age, and we're not going to have an issue. But I believe we can't add new ones. I think it will still shout at us if we try and add a new one. Yeah, there we go. There is also a required as well, conversely to not required, though these things are required by default. So I guess it's just there if you want to be a little bit more explicit with your types, I suppose. And that's more or less everything I wanted to cover, besides just one little thing. So there is actually an alternative syntax that you can employ when defining type hints. I don't really think I prefer this as much. I think it's a little bit messier. I believe this is introduced in Python 3.11, but I might have been misreading the PEP, so feel free to try it if you prefer this. And we're just going to call this new profile T. And then we're going to use TypedDict as a class constructor. So here, you give your type a name, much like you would in a named tuple, so new profile T, and then we're providing a dict itself with the key being the name, the key being the key and the value being the actual type. So to mirror the one above, you know, let's put the not required back, and then we can mirror it in this one as well. And we can have jobs is not required a list of string like that, and then let's put it like that so it's a bit nicer. There we go. And now if we set this to be new profile T, it'll function exactly the same. So if we get rid of the age, it starts complaining. If we get rid of the jobs, it doesn't start complaining. If we then add a new key like this, then it starts complaining again. So either way is perfectly fine. The way you choose to do it will be up to you. I kind of prefer this class version myself. It's just a little bit cleaner than having all this around. But if you prefer the class instantiation, you can do that as well. The typing extensions, I haven't mentioned those, so I'll talk about it. You can do pip install typing extensions. And this brings all of like the future typing stuff over to previous versions of Python, so it sort of backports them. So say for example, you can use the self type in Python 3.7 if you import it from typing extensions, which is kind of cool. I like that idea. I only found that out quite recently actually, so I might start utilizing that at some stage. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about with TypedDict. It is a very simple concept, but it is really nice to have if you know exactly what dictionaries could look like. You can get kind of right down into nitty gritty, and you can prevent various errors like adding extraneous keys or removing keys that should be there, etc, etc. If you like the video, then make sure to leave a like to let me know, and maybe subscribe if you want to see more like this. If you have any questions or ideas on what you want me to cover in the future, then feel free to leave a comment down below. I read every single one, so your feedback would be greatly appreciated. If you want to support this channel monetarily, you can do so in one of two ways. The first of which by becoming a patron using the link in the description. The second of which by becoming a member using the join button below. £1 a month and easier, and you can be on this screen like these people. And I will see you next week where I do something else. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for the next video yet, but I will see you for that.